so it needed to be a daily thing. Whew! I don't know about you guys, but I went to sleep yesterday at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and woke up at like 8:30 to walk my dog and stuff and to feed the beasts, and then went back to bed until 5:30 this morning. And if y'all are wondering, this is how my hair dries naturally. It's slightly wavy, very wavy, slightly curly, but I do like to see that girl's nice. I don't know, maybe I won't do anything with it today. Maybe I won't run the curling iron through today. But we do have to ruin these curls. It's chilly, and honestly, maybe TMI, but first day of my period, I have like a mystery. There you are. I see you. Bye. Got my period today. So that's probably why I was really tired yesterday. To all the girlies out there, if you're tired and if you have the opportunity, because I own a hair studio, we're closed Sunday, Monday, but I work Saturdays, and I worked Sunday this week. But if you have the opportunity to just like curl up with a hot water bottle, which is what I did yesterday, and take a nap, do it. Not everybody has that luxury, but if you do, I was like, whatever. I did the gym in the morning, and normally I go on my walk. I go on a walk 6 days a week, so I was allowed that one day off. And tonight, or maybe this afternoon, I'll go for a little walk if it stops raining. We have a little rain today, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So the horrible nightmare mother, I know all about that. Ruby Frankie, was she sentenced yesterday? I don't know. What I do want to say is that her parents and her brother and sister were at the court house, and her mom mouthed, "I love you" to her. So you love a monster? That makes me think that like her parents probably knew what kind of person she was and then just ignored it or enabled it. And I think that that's probably a good topic to talk about, and like goes hand in hand with the holidays, because we have a lot of like forced interaction. Not all of us. I personally don't. I'm a cousin who just like doesn't show up to anything anymore. But there are a lot of people who have to have these like forced interactions with negative family members or narcissistic family members. And I think of like Paris Hilton. The fact that she still, is so close to her family after, and then like her parents defend sending her to Provo. It's got to be so hard. She's like, "I'm working through it. I know they don't know that it was bad." Like, but I totally empathize with Paris in that respect. Like doctors and like fear of medical people and all of that stuff. I had a lot of really, really bad experiences with the medical community when I was younger. So I completely understand. And I don't have children. And I think that the adults in my life tortured me so much on purpose that I wouldn't reproduce, because I think that they knew that my offspring would be so amazing and so sweet and such a good little life force into the world that they tortured me to the point where I am terrified to bring another human into this world, just because of the kinds of people that I am related to. I just couldn't imagine either one of them reincarnating through my body and torturing me again for the rest of my life. Like, it's just, yeah, like having children after coming from so much trauma and abuse in my life is just like terrifying to me. And I think that the adults in my life knew that if they tortured me enough, that I would be terrified to have children, because I have a moon in Cancer and I'm very, very maternal. Clearly, my animals are so well taken care of. But yeah, I think that some adults are so evil and manipulating and long-term thinking that they will torture young children so that they either don't have their own children or that they torture their children and continue on the abuse. So I definitely feel so bad for Paris when it comes to that. And my heart literally breaks in two for Ruby Frankie's children, two of them, the youngest son and the youngest daughter. She targeted them for some reason, not the older kids. I mean, she did really severely abuse her older children as well, but I guess there was something about those younger kids that she just hated more. And when they read, and now I watched a TikTok of somebody reading the transcripts from the court, and just the fact that she did that to them and what she did, and she's trying to say that Jodi Hildebrand was the one who encouraged her to do, like, were they fucking weirdo lesbians together? Like, not lesbians are not weirdos, but these two were being fucking weird. So what was their motivation for torturing these children? Were they then like going back to the bedroom and like getting off on it together? Because the things that they did to these little kids was so sadistic. And where was the husband in all of this? Like, why isn't he getting charged? He didn't step in and say, like, why are you hog tying my son? You know? And then the kids would get lacerations on their wrist from the hog tying, or the little boy would. And they would put like this weird ointment on and then put duct tape over it and then re-hog tie the child. He was like, I think he tried to run away, but the fact that it's like the neighbors, I'm sure, said something. This is like a weird thing for me because my grandmother has a neighbor like this and his kids are never allowed outside. And I had an interaction with two little girls that he babysat. I was coming out of my grandmother's house one day and the little girl ran from his car to me screaming, crying, like, help me, help me. And I like didn't know what to do. And I was like, girl, please, I will like rip this house down if he's hurting you. So I was like, I can't go to jail for these two little kids right now. But I believe we did call the police, but he would bring, the little girl's mom was a drug addict who lived around the corner from my grandma. And she would drop those little girls off at his house and those little girls would never come outside. Red flag. And then he went and bought this wife from a different country and their little kids do not go outside. And my grandmother saw her like crouching by a bush one day and my grandma was like, are you okay? And of course the woman's going to be like, yeah, like the man is clearly abusing them. But that's what we called the cops. My grandma and her other neighbor called the cops and the cops did absolutely nothing. So it's like you want us to trust law enforcement and, you know, you're supposed to be the good guys. But how are we supposed to trust you guys when there are cases like the Ruby Frankie and also cases like the other little girls who escaped and she couldn't even really like speak properly? When like you listen to like the cadence of her voice and it really doesn't even sound like you could tell she was never let out of a house. So I don't know, with all the CPS workers, with all the, you know, all the shit, and yet children are being abused. So it really just grosses me out. Why wasn't she caught sooner? If these kids were outside in Utah over 100-degree heat with no shoes doing yard work, like nobody thought to fucking go over there and confront her? Because you know I would have. You know I would have. My grandmother's neighbor, he knows. He knows that I am watching him every time I'm over there. And the last time I was there, my grandfather's funeral, I was laying in bed listening to my earbuds, and I could hear the children screaming through my fucking soundproof earbuds. And it was late at night, and it was not like a cry, like a baby didn't want to go to sleep or whatever. It was like a hysterical, and I know that like kids could get hysterical and whatever, but you also, as a woman, like we just have like an intuition, and the way that little kid cried, it just like gripped my stomach, and I was like, what do I do? The fact that my grandmother has to live next door to that man, and I just would be beside myself. So the whole Ruby Frankie thing is just the fact that she has family members there saying I love you to her is what creepy crawls my skin. And I just know that there's so much evil out there in the world. And a lot of times it really does come from our own family. Now, we'll just like segue into Kristen Cavallari's episode on Let's Be Honest. She was talking to Dr. Sherry Campbell, and Dr. Sherry Campbell, from what she explained, comes from a lot of very, very bad narcissistic abuse. And when you are the truth teller in the family, you know, she said there could only ever be one star in my family. And I think for a lot of us who come from severely abusive narcissistic families, it's true. There can only be one star at a time, which creates this weird competition amongst cousins, amongst siblings, who can vie for the top spot. And then it creates a lot of hatred and competition. Look, a little healthy competition is good, but when it becomes like, no, your spot in the family is to be the family loser, and you could cure cancer, but it doesn't matter because if you are not this other child or this other sibling or cousin, then, you know, you are just nothing to us, which in turn creates this weird like self-loathing in children. And also children become what you tell them they are until they could grow up and discern for themselves. Like I was always the bad one. I always would like call out people in my family for either talking shit or being dishonest, and I got labeled as the troublemaker. So if you now, then as a teenager, I started to get into a lot of trouble and date really, really like bad guys, and I was starting to fulfill my familial role as the troubled child. Now, my mom has two brothers, and my uncle Ron, who is the gay hairdresser, he was given the role of the troublemaker. My uncle John was given the role of, you know, prodigy. Like my grandfather loved him, my grandmother loved to brag about him. And then even though my uncle Ron was literally flown to do hair in Australia for the Olympics, and was an incredible, like did hair for A Current Affair and did hair for Roz Abrams and was so talented and very famous in his own right. The fact that my grandparents, it was so weird being a fly on the wall and watching them dismiss him and watching him be too sensitive enough to stick up for himself and then self-destruct with drugs and alcohol and losing his license and losing his house and, you know, all losing his career. And he was so talented. And the fact now that he is still so close to my grandmother, really the one who I would just watch her crush his dreams. And then he would speed away and go to the liquor store and then be on a bender. So she loved that. And then she would go, and she's alive. And, you know, I sometimes I talk to my grandmother, sometimes I don't. But I know who she is. She only likes me if I'm in trouble. She only wants to talk to me if I need assistance with something. She doesn't ever want to talk to me just to see how my day is going or if I'm okay. You know, it's always she will call me or I'll call her. She'll talk at me and then, okay, I gotta go now. And I'm like, I leave it feeling so unfulfilled and so disappointed and so resentful. And then I'm the adult, so I have to, you know, figure out how to metabolize those feelings. So I go and I take a walk and I take some bee pollen because that helps with my mood. I'll take some ashwagandha. But what she's hoping I do is she's hoping that I go to like a bar or something or go to the liquor store or, you know, she's like, oh, you still have your car, you know, and like she just doesn't, and I don't even, well, according to this Kristen Cavallari episode, they know exactly what they're doing. So I'm sure she does on some level. And I feel like it's probably like a drug for her where she can't like kick her habit of trying to arouse a disappointing emotion in me so that I go do something bad and then she has to come and save the day. That's definitely like a weird Munchausen-y type disorder if you ask me. But I would watch her do it to my uncle all the time until he completely lost everything. And my uncle, my other uncle, he's also like, he has lovely children. They're very, very lovely. It's because his wife did a great job at raising them. But he's got a lot of fucking issues too. He's got like a ton of mommy issues and he's got a ton of like weird resentment towards me, which I have my own theories on why he has that weird, deep hatred towards me. I'm not gonna, maybe I'll write a book one day, but I'm not gonna put them in here. When I'm listening to the Kristen Cavallari podcast with Dr. Sherry Campbell, and she's describing all the ways her family cut her down, how there can only be one star. When, like my grandmother told me when I was 14, I was trying on clothes in a dressing room and she looked at me and she's like, aren't you a little young to have saddlebags? Like the look of disgust on her face, she desperately wanted me to have an eating disorder. When I look at my mom and my uncle, they both have eating disorders. My mom never fucking eats and my other uncle is like either binge eating or not eating at all. So I'm like, you really are so fucking insane. I told her the other day, I was like, I know that you wish I would have had an eating disorder, but surprise, bitch, I don't. But I know that she wishes that I did. They loved when my life was falling apart. It gave them something to talk about. It gave them something to get high on. And that's why they should really just like get a hobby. Turn to exercising, turn to journaling, turn to, I don't know, wreath making, but pining for somebody's downfall so you have something to feed off of, that's a sick addiction. There was a picture of my step cousins, my sister, and myself that my step aunt had posted on Facebook, maybe like 5 years ago. And I legit lost my shit because it was at the height of my abuse, my family's abuse of me. It was physical, it was mental, it was emotional, it was sexual, it was financial. They were like trying to like when they suck the life out of the kids in Hocus Pocus, they were like And this picture illustrated to me exactly what they were doing. My two step cousins and my half sister were in the picture, and they were like holding my sister. And then I was like, standing in the background, like, hi. The color of, I was like white as a ghost. I had these black circles under my eyes. My hair was like hanging and dull. My sister, her cheeks were so rosy. She was smiling. They were holding her. But no. Me, I was in the back and I was getting the life force sucked out of me. So when I look at pictures of myself as a high schooler and then I see what I look like now as a 40-year-old woman, it's so evident to me that they were trying to destroy me and suck the life force from me. So Dr. Sherry Campbell also had that happen. They encouraged her to have eating disorders. They encouraged her to just completely have the worst life ever. She didn't. She turned it around. She ended up going and becoming a doctor. I believe she's a psychologist. And now she's able to help other people, like I said, metabolize and heal. Because the thing about being a trauma survivor is the fact that if you do well in life, and then, like, let's say you open up and tell a person, this is my past, they think that you're a liar, because how dare you look this good if you came from that? How could you? How could you be normal? Right? So that's the reaction I get from people. Then, like, or it's like, then if I survive and I do well, they're annoyed, they think I'm a liar, and then they think the only way for me to have any sort of life is to be a homeless drug addict. And that is the only two, so far, positions you could have in life if you come from trauma. You're lying. How dare you be okay after it? Or, sorry, no, we're going to make sure that your life is absolute garbage and shit because you only belong in that category of garbage and shit. There can only be one star in this family. So the fact that Dr. Sherry is coming out and speaking out about this, and she's educated and she has solutions and she's done the work, and it's so hard and painful and it's all encompassing and it's at every turn. But the fact that we are finally starting to, like, I'm only a hairstylist, right? Thank God I was able to get out. I'm not a doctor. I'm not, a CEO of a billion-dollar company. I am a hairstylist, but I'm like, holy shit, thank God I didn't become a homeless drug addict like they wanted me to, with like just terrible. But we really do. We need more of these people to look up to, because society, like the men that I've dated, if I ever open up and tell them anything, they automatically treat me differently. I don't want a man like that in my life. Me being honest with you about where I come from is not an invitation for you to treat me poorly, okay? So that's why I stay single. I have a very unique, and I want to talk about that too, because like, I love Candace Owens, but she's so annoying with some of the stuff that she says. And like the whole PragerU, and like, if women don't have children, like, why does it have to be one way or the other? The reason why I don't have children is because I had a really horrible childhood and it gave me this weird scarlet letter to wear. Whereas the man that I want to be with or have children with, they really aren't interested in having children with me, because I do come from fucking horrible people. And also that makes me have a lesser tolerance for people treating me poorly. Like, I certainly will not be called any names by a man. Okay? That's not going to happen. And I think a lot of women take a lot of mistreatment to stay married. I really do. I think a lot of women turn the other cheek for the security. I think a lot of women brush things under the rug so they could have security. But for me, I grew up with people being like, oh, I wish they would just die already. I wish they would just die. Why don't you just get a divorce? Or why don't you just like find a new home for that animal that you hate? Or, you know? So I don't know. I have very, very complex feelings and opinions about children and having them. My children deserve to have a wonderful mother and father, me and a man who is a wonderful man, and they deserve to have the absolute best. And I did not ever want to be a single mother. And you know what? I was fucking right, because here I am, single at 40. All right. I knew that that was not I could not handle the traumatic childhood and then also the trauma of being a single mother and not having the financial luxury to either stay home with my children or to be choosy about who I send them to be babysat by. So I knew, like I was thinking in my teens and 20s, I cannot perpetuate whatever you know, future these people are trying to superimpose on me. And they tried everything to tear me down, everything. These kids, Ruby Frank's children, I hope you hear this one day. Do not talk to anybody in your family. If they did not advocate for you, if your grandparents didn't advocate for you, move to another fucking country. Start over, change your name, because people are not ever going to let you live it down. They're going to think that you're weird or you're fucked up. And you might be weird and fucked up, but you're going to work through it. But it's just like when all of the weirdness of the world comes from either no family unit or a poor family unit. I know. If you have come from a very severely abusive, narcissistic family, or even just a slightly narcissistic family, go and listen to Kristen Cavallari's Let's Talk. Let's Be Honest. I was going to say, let's talk about it. Let's Be Honest. Her latest episode, Dr. Sherry Campbell. She's got like a Facebook page and all that stuff, I'm sure. So it could maybe help you in some way, especially during the holidays. People are, you know, very, very fragile. I'm old to the game with all this shit. Like, it doesn't even bother me anymore. But if I had children, I would be so devastated that I, you know, wouldn't be able to give them that from my family. In fact, I would be terrified to have my family around my children. So, all right. Mauricio was on a date. We're going to do like a hard left. Mauricio was on a date with a influencer. I don't know her name, but all I do know is that her extensions do not match her hair. It's like they are jet black and then her hair is brown, and that looks fucking horrible. Who influenced you into wearing that look? They're fired. But clearly he's got a type. He loves a brunette. And I want to see Kyle come out with Morgan, because you have to think about it. When Kyle was growing up, being a lesbian just was like not a thing, especially if you wanted to have a family. Like it wasn't even an option. Like you were going to have your family and you were just going to like, whatever, you know, finger bang your friend at book club. I don't know. But now it's 2023. Kyle could be a lesbian. She's clearly the lipstick. And yeah, I don't know. Just like, I think that she just didn't even know that she could be a lesbian because she was born in the late 60s. And now it's a completely different world. And you could do whatever you want. She has her 4 gorgeous daughters, 4 of them, right? And, you know, she was married for 27 years. It's a great run. I'm excited to see the reveal. I think that once the reunion hits, we're going to have Kyle come out and say that her and Morgan are officially together or not officially together, but they're definitely more than just friends. So Mauricio, he's out on his date with the Kyle 2.0 bad extension semi lookalike. And I mean, he's a fucking tool. Whatever, Mauricio. We care about Kyle, okay? Not you. Kanye dropped his first single for Vultures. All right, you're the king. Burger King, you know, I'm too old, so I had to Google. I was like, who the fuck is Burger King? Who the fuck is Professor Opie? I still want to know. From 2007. Who is Professor Opie? Only old school Cat Williams fans would know about Professor Opie. If you know, please drop it in the comments below. But yeah, so Kanye had North up there. North ripped up the couches because she wanted to be on tour with her dad. She's like 9 years old. She hasn't even hit puberty yet. I am shooketh for Kimberly to have a teenager version of Northwest. This kid is, she's got Kanye spirit, 100%. 100%. So she has her little song, she's up on stage, and she's having a good time. And, you know, Kanye's up there wrapped in gauze and his little sock shoes. I don't know what this fucking look is he's going for. He's like got the head wrap on. I really do not understand him, but he is the ultimate performer. Imagine raising him as a child. His parents must have been so tired. They must have been so fucking tired because you know he was so extra. I was extra as a child, so I can only imagine on what level Kanye was extra as a kid. He's a great performer, though. He keeps you talking. Whatever, this is his fucking job, is to keep us talking, keep us guessing. Poor Bianca. Like, do some sign language for us, Bianca. Do we send in a life raft? Like, what do we do? Are you okay? But she seems great with the kids. She's always holding Chicago. She's always with North. And so she looks like I'm sure Kim trusts her with the kids. It's got to be so fucking weird, though. Their life went from when watching Kim and Kanye like fall in love, and I miss those days. I really, really do. What I really miss is old school Kourtney Kardashian. I miss her so, so much. She was like my style icon. I loved how she dressed. She was always just so like effortless, but chic, but comfortable, but sexy. And I miss it. And I'm wondering because, oh my God. So I was married to a Scorpio. And we met on the train platform on July 4th at like 3:30 in the morning, the Delancey platform. And turned out that we were like, lived around the block from each other. He was a Scorpio. And within a month and a half, we were engaged. And he swept me off my feet, came to my mom's house and like hung out with, just like the love bombing. I was only 25 or 24. The love bombing caught me off guard. I'd been love bombed once before that, but this was on another level. He really was so good at fooling me. And when I look at Kourtney and Travis, he went so hard for her. And now, okay, you don't have to post the baby or anything like that. But he didn't even post anything for the boys' birthday because Rain and Mason turn a new age on December 4th. I didn't see any posts from Travis on his Instagram or anything like that. And yeah, you know that I looked because I just get this bad feeling that he wanted to have a baby with a Kardashian so badly. He didn't care which one it was and picked the lowest hanging, stupidest fruit, which was Kourtney. Not that Kourtney is stupid, but Kourtney had 3 children with a guy who treated her like so dismissively. And Travis knew that for like 15 years. And when he swooped in, he knew her weaknesses. I think I was like grinding my teeth last night. My tooth hurts a little bit. But he knew she was so desperate. And back to the narcissistic family. Kourtney definitely is the scapegoat in that family because she was the one who hated Kris when she cheated on Robert. She would take Kourtney with her. So Kourtney was the truth teller in the family and definitely very much ostracized from the family, clearly because she started to create all her own traditions with Travis. And now Travis already got her. They got her knocked up, had a baby with her, and now he's hanging out with his Blink-182 friends, and he's going on tour again, and all of this stuff. He is not paying any attention to Kourtney at all. This sexy post, like all of that stuff since Halloween, I'm telling you, I call it now. Kourtney may hold on to him for a really long time, but I think that it's going to be a constant cycle of like dismissal, hoovering, dismissing, hoovering. Like, I feel like it's going to be that way for her, and she's going to be in so much denial about it because she like doesn't want to look like a fool in her family. But you know, you live, you learn, and this is her path in life, is to learn this lesson. If it doesn't work out, hopefully she knows better off next time to not fall for a love bomber, because they are always 100% full of bullshit. But I really just don't think she's doing great. I don't know. I know that she had all of her kids on TV prior, and I think that that probably left like a bad taste in her mouth, and that's why she's keeping this little one private and to herself. But I don't know. Something just gives me like the feeling of, what's going on here? I would like to know. I know it's none of my business, but so that's it for today, you guys. I'm gonna go put on my mascara. This is the final look. I used my RMS Beauty. I used my discontinued RMS blush that has my hair hanging out of it. I filled in my eyebrows with my Thrive Cosmetics. I do like the brown and the light brown. And what else? Oh yeah, my RMS lip liner. And Modest RMS on my lips. Modest and a little on my cheek. I just don't really like a lot of makeup. I grew up obviously in front of the camera having to wear a ton of makeup all the time, and I just always felt like I didn't like dirty makeup brushes on me, and I didn't like the makeup that they used, and I didn't appreciate it. I didn't think it was good for my skin, and I feel like RMS just is really good for your skin. It's like oil-based, healthy oil-based. Don't be afraid of oil, okay? Stop it. Stop it right now. Oil is so good for you. Not canola oil, not vegetable oil. Extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, like those oils. Yes, 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 yes. Grapeseed oil on your face, rosehip seed oil on your face, all good. So that's what I used. And I always set my makeup with Palladio. I've been using it for like 15 years. I don't know, 15 years. How old was I? Yeah, 14 years. Because I discovered it when I was like 24 or 25. Maybe 25. But so good. It's a rice powder. And I always have two on hand. All right, I gotta hit the road. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Dish. We had a lot going on, and I know it's the holiday season, so I hope you're all doing okay. If you're not, there are resources to reach out to, and you know, go sit in the library or just go be around people if you just want to like be around people but you don't have any friends to go with. There are a lot of Facebook groups that you could join that you could do fun holiday things with. You don't even have to know the people. You could just click like if going, just go. And I know that this time of year could be super rough for everybody, so I'm sending everybody my love, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay.